Comes to talk. I'm here in the studio, and we will be live on the radio in about 12 minutes, taking live calls. And we got a lot to cover on the show today. And Friday's show, of course, is open phones. Monday through Thursday, you got to call in about what we're talking about. But on Friday's show, the show prep is up to you. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show, which is today, right? And there's a lot to call in about, huh? Oh, man, there's so much happening. President Trump is amazing. President Trump is absolutely amazing. And the things that he is doing are just totally freaking out the Democrats. The Democrats, the Trump derangement syndrome has gotten so far out of control that the Democrats can't see straight. And they're supporting these incredibly insane positions, and they're so deep in their Trump derangement that they don't even see it, right? And Trump is just kicking butt. He's just kicking butt. And the positions that Trump takes, here's the thing about the Trump positions. None of Trump's positions are controversial. He's taking very common sense positions on everything. Everything he's doing is just basic common sense. But the Democrats have no sense. That's their problem. They have a lot of problems, but that's a big problem. But we don't want the Democrats to wise up. We want them to keep taking bizarre positions and getting creamed. I mean, come on. But the people that are running the Democrat Party right now are so out of their minds, even though people are constantly talking about how they're taking these absurd positions, they just don't see it. But that's okay. We see it for them. So if you're new, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe, all right? We'll be live in 10 minutes. And if you want to call in, I'm putting the number in the chat. Just doing a sound check. The number is toll free. Okay. There you go. The number is pinned in the live chat if you'd like to call in. And it's a toll-free call no matter where you are watching. What do you get? Let me know in the chat what you think the big stories of the day are. What would you say the big stories of the day are? I know what I'm leading with, but it's open phones. You guys can call in about anything you want on Friday's show. The Doge interview? Yeah, it was good. I watched it. I watched it this morning. Welcome, everyone. What about the Doge interview? Do you think was the big standout? That's right. It's Open MAGA Mike Friday. Elon Musk is amazing. He's the richest man in the world, the richest African American, and he's brilliant. Did a great job with Doge. Great job. The first bud. I didn't say it makes you a good person. Who said that? Elon Musk just happens to be the richest man in the world and a good person. That's right, America first. Well, Elon's wealth is self-made, and it's based on his brilliance. He's a very smart person, very smart person. That's who Trump likes, smart people. We are the most powerful country. Welcome to the new subscribers. Hillbilly J just subscribed. Welcome, Hillbilly J. He has rocket technology that's over 20 years ahead of anyone else in the world. The ability to land his rocket back on the launch pad. That's brilliant. I'm just waiting to hear from Mike at the radio. Let's see here. We are okay. That's right. Nobody else has that technology, not even close to it. He's more than 20 years ahead of every rocket scientist in the world. That's pretty smart. That's the kind of guy you want working for you. And Elon's working for America. He's very smart. You ever hear him explain his technology? He's very good at explaining it in layman's terms. Now, anytime they're testing new rockets, there's all kinds of problems. NASA had that problem. Soviets had that problem. Oh, Trump's doing very well in the polls. You're talking about the fake polls. We'll be live on the radio in about 5-6 minutes. Elon Musk is able to explain very complex things in very easy to understand layman terms. Take a constitutional amendment to get the third term. Sure. Here we are right now using satellite technology to do this live feed. What do you mean? It means nothing if we don't leave the solar system. When I was on my cruise last month, I did those live streams from the cruise ship. That was through Elon Musk's Starlink internet. His Starlink's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Oh, we don't need, let Canada not have Starlink. You know, so much of Canada, people live out in the middle of nowhere. They depend on Starlink. Simon just subscribed. Welcome, Simon, to the channel. We'll be live in 4 minutes. I'll start the other stream in a few minutes. Now, those of you watching on this stream here with the green screen behind me, if you watch my other YouTube live stream, you're able to see and hear the videos I play. On this stream, you get to see the green screen effect in action on my other stream. On this stream, you get to hear me and the callers fine, but you won't be able to see the video or hear the or the articles I show or hear the audio. But you'll be able to hear me and the callers on this stream. So when I start that stream in a couple minutes, you can go over there for that if you want. Or you can stay here. You can hear the show here fine. Jesus is king, that's right. Can't help that things are made in China. You know, Democrats pushed, and the unions pushed all the manufacturing to China. Oh, Trump's an incredible success, Mike. Okay. Just over 2 minutes, we'll be live. Oh no, we see him winning right now. I mean, what kind of name is that, by the way, Cheese? I mean, classless name there. Two minutes. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to all the new subscribers. If you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And in less than 2 minutes, we'll be live on a whole bunch of radio stations. And I live stream here on YouTube while I'm on the air in the mornings. So the callers you'll hear, some of them are from you guys on YouTube, some of them are from the radio or on some other platform that carries the show. Oh, Trump's been cleaning everything up. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Oh, sorry, guys. Choking here. We'll be live on the radio in less than a minute. I've got a lot to cover today, but it is Friday, which means open phones, open MAGA mic Friday. Even though I've got a lot of stories I'm going to cover on Friday's show, the show prep is up to you all. I'm choking to death, though. And I got 30 seconds till showtime, less than that. So I better stop choking. So it is Open MAGA Mic Friday. And if you want to call in, the toll-free number, it's toll-free no matter where you're watching, is pinned in the live chat. All right, here we go. Stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We got a lot to cover. Today is Friday, and you guys know what that means. Friday is open phones. We call it Open MAGA Mic Friday. And on Open MAGA Mic Friday, you're welcome to call in about any and everything on your mind. You don't have to even mention or reference anything that Steve and I bring up. The show prep is up to you guys on Friday's show. If you're on hold, hang in there. I do have some stories that I do want to cover. And I've got two big ones I'm going to cover in this hour. Later in the hour, I came across a tape, an interview with the fake Maryland man's wife, who's talking about what he did to her when he beat her up and why she did not press charges. I'm going to play that coming up later in this hour. You will not want to miss it. The media are not going to share that with you, but you'll hear it here. But what I want to start with is what President Trump did yesterday was the most epic troll of the media so far by President Trump in the 10 years since he came down the escalator. Can you believe we've had President Trump for a decade now? This is awesome. And yesterday morning, not too long after I got off the air, the story broke that Tim Waltz was Mike Waltz. I say Tim. Who's Tim? That's another Tim. I don't know. But oh yeah, I'm thinking of Kamala's running mate. A story came out not long after I got off the air that Mike Waltz was no longer going to be the national security advisor. And the mainstream fake news legacy media immediately go over in overdrive and exposing themselves for being fake news. And immediately, sorry, Mike Waltz, to get you confused with that idiot that Kamala was running with. I'm behind on my coffee this morning, okay? I've only had a few sips of my coffee, so it's going to take a while before the brain is all connected, but that's okay. My brain's connected better than the liberals that listen and call this program. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get the calls in a few minutes. But immediately after it was announced that Mike Waltz was no longer going to be the national security advisor, the media immediately started reporting he was fired because of Signal Chat. Some media people said multiple sources have confirmed that Mike Waltz is fired. I heard one guy say, I have 4 independent sources who told me that Trump has wanted to fire Mike Waltz even before Signal Chat, and the Signal Chat saved his job for a while, and he's out. And then, I don't know, was it 2 hours later? I don't know, it wasn't that long, but about 2 hours later, President Trump announces through a post on Truth Social, his personal social media platform, that Mike Waltz is going to be the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. So, the media don't have sources. Certainly not in the Trump White House. Their sources are things they make up in their own mind, or they talk to their friends, right, in the cubicle next to them. Or they text a buddy. That's their source. And it just blows my mind that the media were quoting their multiple sources in the White House that said he was fired and they wanted to fire him for a while. If he fired him, he would just be gone, Mike Waltz. Being the ambassador to the United Nations is a pretty prestigious thing. You have that title forever. For now and forever, Mike Waltz will be known as Ambassador Waltz for the rest of his life, unless he gets another office that's better than that, right, in the future. That's a pretty prestigious thing. And it's very important in this day and age, since we're involved in all these trade negotiations. So what happened to the media that they had all these sources that said he was fired? Fired is fired. Fired is fired. National security advisor is an important job. Don't get me wrong, okay? It is a very important job. But you don't get that lasting title. You're not a member. UN ambassador is kind of like a royal title so far as presidential appointments go. It's a big deal. It really is. And it's a rank in the diplomatic corps that you have forever. Ambassador. It's a pretty big deal. Now, a couple things about this I want to ask you. So we have a temporary replacement as National Security Advisor. Marco Rubio is doing 2 jobs now, Secretary of State and acting National Security Advisor. And this is the second time that President Trump, in this second term, had Marco Rubio do double duty. The last time, when Elon Musk and Doge exposed USAID, he made Marco Rubio do double duty as the acting head of USAID and still be Secretary of State like he's doing now with National Security Advisor. So I got 2 questions for you that I want to ask. Well, maybe 3. I'd like to hear your thoughts on the media getting trolled by Trump yesterday, which was beautiful. But I want to ask you two more questions about this in particular. President Trump now has leaned on Marco Rubio to do two important things: be Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, be Secretary of State and take over USAID at the same time. And by the way, when Marco Rubio was the temporary acting head of USAID, they had a lot of issues to deal with because USAID had people scattered all over the world. Does it look to you like President Trump has made Marco Rubio the MAGA presidential apprentice? That he is leaning on Marco Rubio, that he's considering Marco Rubio to be the second MAGA president after his terms are over? Because, Trump could still run in 2028. Because he seems to keep adding duties and leaning on Marco Rubio. Do you guys think that he's thinking about backing Marco Rubio to be the second MAGA president? And here's another thing. How would you feel, and I want to hear your thoughts on all of this at 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. How would you feel if President Trump named General Flynn as the National Security Advisor? I think that's a great idea. I would love it. The mainstream media would have complete meltdowns over it. And just based on that, I would like to see him make him the National Security Advisor. But would you support President Trump making General Flynn the National Security Advisor? Do you think that's a good idea? And why? I want to hear your thoughts on all of this. So much is happening, and it is wonderful. And again, our number is 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Mark from Texas.
Mark in Texas. What's on your mind?
So, what's exactly the deal with the whole Rubio and Waltz shift? I'm not quite understanding.
What do you not understand? That's kind of vague. What do you not understand?
Just like a little breakdown of the situation.
Well, I did that in the first segment, but what about the situation? Mike Waltz just got a major promotion, being named the ambassador to the United Nations. He's got to go through confirmation, but he's been named ambassador to the United Nations. That's a very prestigious, high-ranking position with the permanent title of ambassador. It's very prestigious.
Sorry, very what?
Prestigious. It's a big deal. It's like a royal, it's a big deal. Are you okay? Are you a Trump supporter? Are you a Trump supporter?
No.
Oh, that explains why you're so slow. Why don't you support Trump?
Whoa. Do you talk to everybody like this? It's kind of mean, man.
No, I don't talk to everyone like this, but you just seem a little slow. It's very obvious what's going on. Why do you not support Trump?
I'm just not a part of it.
Well, who do you support?
I think he vehicleizes hate in a
vehicleizes
way that
hate? Give me an example. Okay, slow down. Oh, that's it. Okay, slow down. You used a phrase I never heard. Hold on. You said, well, I'm hosting a radio show. Okay, you're a caller. You said that he vehicleizes hate. I've never heard that term, but I can kind of figure out what you mean. Can you give me an example of maybe the most recent example of President Trump mobilizing, allowing, or spreading hate?
Immigration and gender issues.
Well, hold on a second. Immigration. What has President Trump done to spread hate involving immigration? You're aware that his wife is an immigrant, and his first wife is an immigrant, and his best friend, Elon Musk, is an immigrant. Now, they're all legal immigrants, but where's this hate towards immigrants that you're talking about? I'm not familiar with him doing this.
You're really cute, So
cute?
It's the illegal immigration deal.
Well, those are criminals. If you're here illegally, you're a criminal. You got to go.
Yes, but there's an overgeneralization and a widespread panic of them all being violent, they'll rape you, they'll kill you.
Well, there's a lot of them that
Like,
do.
yeah,
There's a lot of them that do that because it's happened. No, not all immigrants are violent, but they're all the illegals. All the illegals are criminals. If you've entered the United States illegally, you've committed a federal crime. They're all criminals.
How long it takes to get a visa approved?
So what?
It take up to a decade.
Well, you got to wait. That's the rules.
War-torn issues.
Do you know when I first got into broadcasting, I was about 19 years old, and someone offered me a job at a radio station in London, England.
That's cute.
Why do you think I did not go to London, England, and take this job at a radio station?
I don't get it. Is it a rhetorical question?
No, it's a real question. Well, I'll tell you. You'll never figure it out. They had, now this was many years ago. I don't know what their laws are today, but at the time, you could not hire someone from another country like that. They had a rule or a law in England at the time. This was like 92, 91, sometime between 91 and 93. I can't remember exactly when. But they had to advertise a job for 2 years and not be able to find a qualified UK applicant for that job before they could hire a foreigner. So I couldn't take the job. They have strict immigration rules over there. That I didn't just go there and break their immigration laws and take the job illegally. That's the law. Just because it takes a while to get a visa is no reason for you to break the law and jump the border and enter our country. I don't understand what that means to you. I mean, if there's a long line at the bank, you go to the bank and there's a long line, right? It's Friday. People are going there because they just got paid. Are you allowed to rob the bank because you got to wait in line longer?
No, getting very off topic.
No, it's not off topic. It's an analogy to show how stupid your argument is. Hey, listen, I'm going to run, but thank you for your call. All right?
Meow.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. This guy identifies as a cat. If you're on hold, hang in there. My name's Brian Craig. This is the longest running radio show in the state of Florida, the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Oh my goodness. You talk to people, you hear how uninformed and stupid so many Americans are, and you wonder, how did we send men to the moon and return them safely to the earth? He said, well, it takes 10 years to get a visa, which I don't know how long it takes to get a visa, but, because you got to wait in line, you're allowed to break in. That doesn't make sense.
Great work in the Treasury this week. One of the crazy.
That's just a bizarre statement that the guy made. Makes no sense at all. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back shortly, and I'll go to the phones. If you're new to my program, make sure you subscribe, all right? This is where MAGA comes to talk, and I'm here Monday through Friday, every morning, taking live calls just like this. There's 2 openings on the board. Okay. Oh, my throat's very dry. Now, what you have with a lot of these callers is they're liberal. And if you really pay attention, most people that call me that are liberal, most of them are liberal because they just don't know what the heck's going on. They're uninformed. They're ignorant of the facts. They have a bunch of meaningless talking points. Mm-hmm. That's right. And a lot of you that are new, that are liberal, you're hearing things in a way you've never heard them before in your life. This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. Absolutely. This is the most pro-Donald Trump space anywhere. There's one opening on the board. If you want to call in, then the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. All right? Oh, yes. I'm drinking coffee, not Kool-Aid. I had some Gatorade earlier. We'll be back in about a minute, a little longer. Stand by. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go to the phones as soon as we get back. We get calls from all over the world, yeah. You're welcome to call in. One opening on the board. "30 seconds, we'll be back." Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. It is Open Phone Friday, Open MAGA Mic Friday. There's one opening on our board at 1-888-465-2631. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Larry. I'm from South Florida.
All right. Larry in South Florida. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm going back to the immigration. Now, I've been in this country since 1983.
Yep.
To this point of time, I have not been able to achieve my citizenship.
Oh, no. Why not?
So, to begin with, I got sick.
Okay.
I became a disabled person.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I filled up the special form for me to apply for my citizenship 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
and they turned it down.
Oh,
Why? I don't know.
okay.
I'm a law-abiding citizen in this country since 1983. I've had no problem with the law. My son died 2 years ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And I tried to get travel papers to go home because I had lost my wallet and my papers.
Oh, and you were afraid you wouldn't get back in.
No, what they told me that we're not stopping you, but when you're coming back, you have a problem.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why would they use such a statement to me? I've been here for so long.
Well, I don't know anything about you. I mean, if they have rejected your citizenship application, there must be something that causes the rejection. They don't tell you why you're rejected. What you need to do. I mean, do you have an attorney?
Say again?
Do you have an immigration attorney working for you?
No.
Well, then, that's what you got to do. You need an attorney. They don't tell you why they reject you. There's a reason why you were rejected.
Well, as far as I can pick it up, it seems to want me to pay that money.
I don't know. I don't know what I was blessed to be born an American citizen, so I don't know what the process is every step of the way to become one. But they've got a reason to reject you, and you've been rejected multiple times. I know you've got sad story, and I feel sorry for you, and you know, and that everything you shared, I'm very sorry, and it's awful, but you know, no one's entitled to be a U.S. citizen unless you're born one. So I mean, you know, there are immigration attorneys, and you're in South Florida. There's almost as many immigration attorneys in South Florida as personal injury attorneys. You should be able to find one. All these years, you haven't been able to. You never went to an attorney.
Oh, I mean, I trust the people who's running the system, and
well, they have determined multiple times that you're not to be a citizen. Do you really not know why they rejected you? Why did they really reject you?
As I said, I think they want me to pay that money.
Oh, you have to pay a fee? Well,
yeah,
well, there's
you have to pay a fee for when you apply immigration.
Well, that's the way it is. Pay the fee.
If there's a special form for disabled people, which I filled out.
Do you receive disability? Do you receive disability from the government?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, you're not even a U.S. citizen, and you're getting disability? Life seems pretty good. You're not a U.S. citizen, and you're getting disability from the U.S. government? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but I came out here and I get hurt.
Well,
it's not something that
I mean, how can you be upset? You're not a citizen. Your citizenship application's been rejected multiple times, and you're receiving disability. I mean, how does someone who's not a citizen receive disability? That doesn't.
It's the law.
It's the law. Oh my goodness. What's your disability?
Well, I have a thing called narcolepsy.
Narcolepsy? You have sleeping problems?
Yes.
How long have you been on disability?
2005.
You've been on disability for 20 years? You're not a U.S. citizen? You know, listen, you could do phone work from home. You could get an at-home job doing phone work. You're talking to me. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I can.
I mean, let me tell you, people that are listening right now, so many of them are so pissed off. They're like, this guy's not a citizen. It's been rejected, and he's been on disability because he has sleeping issues for 20 years. Oh, my goodness. There's no sympathy for you in the listening audience.
Could I finish?
Yeah.
I could be speaking to you on Wall Street.
Well, we've been talking for like 9 minutes, and you're wide awake.
So you think 9 minutes is my whole life?
Well, this is what I think. You're not an American citizen. Your citizenship has been rejected multiple times for some reason. Okay, I'm sure they have a good reason. You just don't want to share it with us. I find it impossible to believe you don't know the reason. And for 20 years, you've been retired. While Americans are getting up every day, working their tails off. That ticks people off. This is why we elected Trump. This is why we elected Donald Trump. Oh, my goodness.
I've been working my ass off for all these years until I got sick.
I understand. I feel bad for you, but you're not going to find sympathy in this country. You've been retired for 20 years. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I mean, my goodness. And you hear the entitlement mentality? He's complaining that he's got to pay some fee. Pay with some of that disability. Holy smokes. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian.
Yeah.
Are we ready for your break? Can I wait?
No, I'm not going to hold you through the break, Richie. No. But go ahead and see what you got.
Well, this guy that just called you up.
Oh, my goodness.
You can't make this crap up.
No.
You can't make this crap up.
I know. I couldn't believe it. I got a full board of calls, and I lost track of the order they call. I took that call at random on my full board, and it was that. I mean, my goodness, that was crazy.
Yeah, and the guy before, I'm getting a little tired of people attacking President Trump with this immigration thing. We had a president for 4 years that had mush for brains. Everyone knew it. They hid it from the American people. At least the Democratic Party, they all were deceptive, and that should be the biggest thing going down.
That's
right
true.
now.
Hey, Richie, I got to run for the break. I'm sorry, I can't hold you over. There's one opening on the board where Richie was. I'd like you. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind, but I would like to hear from you about that caller that's been on disability for 20 years because he has sleeping problems, narcolepsy, and man, oh man, his citizenship has been rejected. Did he say 3 times? And he's ticked off that you got to pay a fee to fill out the forms and process the forms to become a citizen. I mean, that's a pretty outrageous call, isn't it? All right. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Back after this. In a word, what's your opinion of that caller, guys? In a word. That's nuts. That's completely nuts, that call. And the entitlement. You know, he's not even grateful that the country's been taking care of him all these years. That's what's nuts. He's not even grateful. He's angry. No, nobody would make that up. Oh my goodness. Why do people get their citizenship applications rejected? I don't know. He's been in the country for a long time. I don't know. No, that call just red pilled. How many people listening to that call will be red pilled now, right? Gee whiz. Yeah, he's been on disability for 20 years and he's complaining. Holy smokes. How many people are American citizens that have had their disability claims denied? The entitlement. We'll be back soon. I'm going to go right back to the phones. He was fine and awake in that call. That's nuts. The entitlement mentality. That was crazy. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. We're in our bottom of the hour break on the radio. We'll be back in about a minute. In a word, how would you describe that guy? I can't believe the entitlement. He's owed. Yeah. Gee whiz. Well, you've heard of it now. 20 seconds, we'll be back. Welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. You know, if you're on hold, hang in there. I know it's Open MAGA Mike Friday, and you don't have to, but I would certainly like to hear your thoughts on that last caller. There's one opening on the board at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. The entitlement. You know, President Trump flew back home to the Florida White House at Mar-a-Lago. So that means President Trump and everybody around him, his staff and everyone are at Mar-a-Lago. I hope some of the Mar-a-Lago Trump people are listening to the program this morning on the radio. I mean, that how many people do you think that guy red-pilled who were listening to his call? The entitlement. And the thing about narcolepsy, okay, it's not a disability like he's lost an arm or a leg at work or has he has one of these disabilities that I don't know if you can 100% be sure that someone has narcolepsy. It seems one of those, I remember years ago, the number one disability claim that was paid out was back pain because they said you couldn't really prove or not if somebody had back pain. Is narcolepsy something you could fake with the doctor? What do you guys think? I don't know. That seems like, I'm asleep. Give me a break. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You asked the question, would Trump appoint General Flynn
as National Security Advisor? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. My thing is, remember in his first term, he did appoint him to that. He did appoint him to that job, and that's what brought the lawfare people against.
Yeah, and he fired General Flynn for lying to Mike Pence. He said, President Trump, but I don't think he minds lying to Mike Pence anymore. Hey, Mike, appreciate the call. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Nick out of Maryland.
Hey, Nick, what's up?
We're doing good. One of the drawbacks, I love the show, but one of the drawbacks when you do the show from the house, I can't hear the show.
That's there's nothing perfect.
Computer music.
Nothing perfect.
Yeah, that's fine. No, but I don't want to mess up your flow. I wanted to mention the here's what I think about the ticket. I think it's going to be J.D. Vance and Rubio.
Do you really think Marco Rubio would play second banana to a millennial like J.D. Vance? I mean, he was a higher ranking senator and he's older. I don't think he's a number two guy, not with JD. I don't know. It could happen, but I don't know.
It could be the other way around. I just think that that's a winning ticket. I think down the road also after that, Byron Donalds.
Now Byron Donalds is awesome, yeah. But what we were talking about with hold on here. What we're talking about with Marco Rubio is President Trump keeps giving him extra tasks, right? National Security Advisor,
yeah.
USAID. It just seems to me that he's testing him. He's doing his political apprenticeship, and I
think he's come through. I think he's come through with flying colors.
Mm-hmm. Very impressive.
And I also like the way Trump is keeping the media guessing, because what they want is what you said.
Yeah.
And by the way, I like the way you handle the liberals. But the thing is, Trump he's keeping the media guessing, because what they want is they want him to, fire somebody from the cabinet, and that's not happening.
No, what happened with Waltz yesterday? I mean, he didn't announce. He didn't announce he's nominated for UN ambassador. They announced he was no longer going to be National Security Advisor. Then, like 2 hours later, the media, I think, humiliated themselves yesterday. There was one guy that's conservative that I said, I've got 4 independent sources who told me that they wanted the firing for a long time, before Signal Chat. I mean, come on. They're just making stuff up.
Oh yeah, sure they are, and it's ridiculous. The media is done. The media is done. You're the new media, which includes you. That's where we get the news now.
Yep.
The conventional methods of getting news, even the local news, is biased.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, Nick. Good to hear from you. You too. Take care. Good to hear from you. There's one opening on the board where Nick from Maryland called in. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes. Good morning. My name is Mark. I'm calling from Davie.
Is this the same? Are you the same guy, the narcolepsy guy?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You're in South Florida and you're black and have the same accent. So I thought you might be the narcolepsy guy. Okay, what's on your mind?
I'm an American born overseas.
Ah.
My mother used to work for the State Department.
Oh.
I cannot mention the name.
So you got an accent.
There's a lot of things I can't talk. Yes.
What's on your mind? What's on your mind? What's on your mind?
Okay, the guy with narcolepsy. What happens is that a lot of people have friends and family overseas and all that, and when they go back there, they know exactly what they're gonna do to this country. For instance, I used to have a business, and I used to hire people, and I could tell they were illegal. And I said, "Where do you get your Social Security?" And he says, "Oh, a priest sold it to me for $50."
Oh my goodness! A priest? Oh my god!
Oh yeah.
Oh man!
Yeah.
That's no good.
And then what happens? People come to the States, they get a job under the table, they apply for credit cards. I've seen it in person. They apply for credit cards.
And by the way, they apply for credit cards that they have no intention on ever paying.
You are correct.
Yeah, exactly.
So what they do, they build up their credit up to $100,000. They buy furniture. They get cash advances. They fill a container and send it to their countries. And the Interpol cannot intervene, but now has changed. Now the Interpol can intervene, but the problem is
oh my goodness,
that they have fake names.
Yeah.
So I could tell you stories, guys.
Well, we don't have time for the stories, but you know that narcolepsy disability, that sounds like a scam to me.
No, he's a scammer.
Yeah.
For sure. You know what? He came because during Obama, you could work at the post office and you could tell them that your back hurts and you go right away on disability.
Yeah. Narcolepsy.
Yeah.
Come on.
And another thing, this is a joke. Poor Richie, you're giving him a hard time. You've been so nice to him over the years.
Well, if you remember, a couple weeks ago, he got really nasty with me. I'm always nice to Richie.
I know.
But listen. I go to Richie. I'm taking the calls randomly. What am I supposed to? I got a full board of calls. Richie, I take the calls randomly. It's Richie. I'm up against the break. What am I supposed to hold him over and give him a segment? When I got a whole bunch of people like you that I've never talked to before on hold, what am I supposed to do?
I was thinking he had stock on your radio station and he has privilege.
No, he has no privilege. I mean, I let him go on too long. Steve tells me all the time, and then he complains. Then he complains if I don't give him like his own segment. Hey, listen, I appreciate. I mean, can you imagine? Can you hold me over, Brian? No, I don't hold. I rarely hold people over through breaks. Certainly not somebody that calls as much as him. Hey, appreciate the call from Davey. All right, take care. Yeah, that's not a Davey accent. I'm here to tell you. Okay, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Renee from Harlem.
Hey, Renee.
Hey, I was thinking about that caller you had earlier.
What, the narcolepsy? The narcolepsy man?
No, the guy that said you vehicleize hate. I think he meant to say motorized.
I don't know. I just think he's a brain-dead liberal, that caller.
No, I think he really made sense, and I think I could give you some examples. One of them is right on your head.
No. He didn't say me. He said President Trump vehicleizes hate.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right. And one of them is right on your head.
What, make America great again is hate? Explain that to me.
Yeah, when did America stop being great?
Well, America used to be, what it is again, America used to be I'm trying to tell you, it used to be America used to be the leader of the world. And our politicians have been bought off by special interest and other countries like China and have been selling us out. And that's where we lost a lot of our greatness.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, it makes perfect sense.
No, it doesn't, because you have to rationalize where that slogan came from and when it started.
Ronald Reagan started it. President Reagan used it. Make America Great Again.
Yeah. But it wasn't the slogan then. It became popular under Trump for a reason.
Yeah, because it's good. We want America to, listen, I give you another example. Look, these trade deals where we're getting ripped off all over the world on the import tariffs, okay? I mean, that's not American greatness. They're ripping us, they're making us out to be punks, like we're chumps.
Are the Haitian migrants still eating cats and dogs?
I don't know. I haven't been to Springfield, Ohio.
You haven't? Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't been following the story.
You haven't been following it, but you've been spreading it. You don't think that's spreading hate?
There were people that lived in Springfield, Ohio, who went public and made those statements.
Who made those statements?
Residents of Springfield, Ohio. I had one or two call me on this program.
And said that they were eating cats and dogs?
Correct.
Oh,
and
really?
And there was a story that came out from police body cam footage. It was outside of Springfield, but in Ohio, where police arrested a Haitian woman who they caught her. They drove up on her, and she was actually eating a house cat.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. And where was the footage of that again?
I played the audio at the time on the program, and it was all over X, Twitter.
It was all over Twitter.
X.
You mean that clan radio?
I don't know what Twitter's not radio. Hey, Renee, I got to run for a break. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. This is our last break of this hour. We're here for 3 hours. Kim just subscribed. Welcome, Kim, new subscriber. Welcome. We'll be back in 1 minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. 30 seconds. Now, you're welcome to call in. The number's pinned in the chat. If you want to call in live, you're welcome to call in. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. It is Open Manga Mic Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. You're not limited to the topics that I bring up, but I brought up a few things that I hope you comment on, but you don't have to. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine, Brian.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, could I just bring up the commencement speech at Alabama? And
Yeah.
I watched that whole thing, and let me tell you, the mainstream news media is lying about how the colleges hate Trump, because there's such a huge amount of college students that love and admire that man, and I was truly grateful that they gave him that opportunity, because that gave him another platform to reach out. You know, there was a lot of people probably watching that, and I thought he did an excellent job. Yeah,
he always does. But, you know, I was watching on Right Side Broadcasting. They were interviewing people throughout the day, and they were interviewing some of the students, and they were in their cap and gowns and everything, and they're, you know, it's amazing to have young people that are college students, college grads like that, to be conservative, to be Republican, is unheard of. It's unheard of. And it really shows you the trouble the Democrats are in.
That's right. And a lot of thanks goes to Charlie Kirk and TPUSA, and back when Candace Owens too, because she did a lot for the conservatives back then.
Yeah.
But that really, I think, sparked today what is going on in colleges. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, but I think Trump has a lot to do with it too. And, you know, when people are in college, a lot of them, you know, they start to worry about what their life's going to be like when they have to actually go out and work.
Yep.
You know, so that has a lot to do. But it wasn't all that long ago. You would not find college students backing a Republican. And they may, and you may hear some people say, oh, well, you know, that's a conservative school. I don't know about that. I think that those students are mainstream among American colleges today. There's still radical places here and there. And
that's
there's
right.
but I think I think that being conservative is mainstream at American colleges now.
And it's getting better and better. I just think that these colleges that are not obeying Title IX?
Oh, you mean? Oh, yeah, you mean violating? Yeah, with letting transgenders in the women's sports.
That's right, and they're going to hurt. They're going to get hurt financially, and they're not going to be able to. And the students are going to say, you know, that's not right. They're not going. Even on a liberal campus, I don't believe that stance is going to help these liberal universities. It's going to hurt them. And Trump's awakening a lot of people to the nonsense of the leaning left liberal ideologies.
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
It's absurd, Brian. You know,
it is.
Our country has, in 100 days, has taken leaps and bounds back to the 2016 days. And I can't wait for the end of the first year, because so much is happening all at once. They just can't keep up with him.
Yep.
This man is incredible.
Yep, that's right. Hey, Jeff, I appreciate the call. Take care. I agree with everything you said. After the top of the hour, I'm going to play some audio that most of you have not heard before. I came across, and I posted this on my X, Brian Craig Show on X. You guys want to follow me there. I came across a short clip of the fake Maryland man. You know, the guy that beats his wife, the woman he beat up multiple times, his wife, spoke to someone. I have the recording talking about some of the abuse she endured from this MS-13er that the liberals are flying to Central America all the time trying to meet up with. And she reveals what happened that stopped her from pressing charges. I'm going to play that audio after the top of the hour break, and you're certainly welcome to comment on it. And I got a lot of other things to cover too on the program today, but I'm going to play that audio right at the top after our top of the hour break. When we come out of the top of the hour break, I'm going to share that with you, and it's shocking. And I don't do this very often, I actually made a copy of it because I don't know how this is going to be received, because the media do not want this audio heard. But you are going to hear it on this program after our top of the hour break. Now, first, I want to talk about Friendly Tire and Margate. You know, I've been buying my tires at Friendly Tire and Margate for at least 15 years, maybe longer. You know, Friendly Tire and Margate has the absolute lowest prices I've found on tires anywhere. He has thousands of good used tires in stock, by the way, at great prices. But his new tires are the lowest ever. You know, you can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. And when I say out the door and on the road, what that means is this. Mike at Friendly Tire, you call him. I'm going to give you the number in a moment. He gives you a quote over the phone. That's the price, out the door and on the road. And what I mean by that is he doesn't charge you to balance the tire. He doesn't charge you to mount the tire or even dispose of your old tire. And I'll tell you this. I was talking to Mike on Monday or Tuesday. I was talking to him. I can't remember which day it was. And the guy was coming to take the tires away, the old tires away. He has to pay that guy. And it's not inexpensive per tire. And I was shocked when I first found this out, because I said, I'm shocked. I thought that people would be dying to get these things for free because it's a recyclable material. He's like, no, I got to pay them. And he told me how much, and it's not cheap. He doesn't charge you to dispose of the tire, mount the tire, or balance your tire. The price he quotes you over the phone is out the door and on the road. And he also has all the name brands you know and love. Firestone, Bridgestone, Pirelli, whatever. He can get tires for any vehicle too. And whenever I go over there, I run into listeners in every type of car you can imagine. Some of them are rust buckets. Sometimes I run into listeners that have Porsches, Vets, all kinds of things. Okay, if you have a Tesla, he's got the special tools you need to change the Tesla tires. You know, on one of my cars, I have run flats. If you have run flats, oh man, you're going to get the best deal on run flats anywhere at Friendly Tire and Margate. He also does tire repairs, which other tire shops do not do. So give Friendly Mike a call. He will give you a quote right over the phone. His number is 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. All right, now, if you're on hold, hang in there. There's really not enough time to have a meaningful conversation, so I'm not going to take any more calls right now, but there's 2 openings on the board. If you'd like to call in, our number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you're listening, and it is open phones on Friday, Open MAGA Mike Friday. On Friday's show, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. Now, after the top of the hour break, I'm going to share this audio that the fake Maryland man's wife talks about some of the abuse. It's a short piece of audio, but she talks about some of the abuse she endured and what happened where she didn't pursue it with the court after she had gone to court. And you liberals out there, I hope you pay careful attention to it because you have some explaining to do. I mean, why are you trying to put a wife beater back into the home with the woman that he beat up? I've never heard of anything so nuts. All right, so our toll-free number, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. All right, my name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. One of my daughter's cats are staying with us. My daughter's on a trip. And one of her cats, I know you guys can hear in the background, he is such a baby, and he's missing my daughter. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back shortly. I'm going to play the audio and then go to the calls. But it is, it's really sad. Really sad. All right, hang in there if you're on hold. We'll be back shortly. A little more than a minute. Puerto Rico, welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Celebrating 48 years on the radio. It is Open MAGA Mike Friday. Callers on hold, stand by. I came across this audio when I was doing my show prep today. This is the fake Maryland man's wife talking about some of the instances when he beat her up and why she didn't pursue the charges. She went to court and everything, but then she didn't pursue them. And, for the life of me, I don't understand how these Democrats can go out there and actually talk about putting a wife beater back into the home with the woman he beat up. What? By the way, the Democrats out there, what are the Democrats doing with women? They're just betraying them, right? With the sports, with this. What is something that the Democrats are doing to help women? Anyone know? Anyway, let me play this, and then I'll go to the phones. But this is the fake Maryland man's wife. Here. Wow. Wow. You know, there's never an instance when it's okay to hit a woman. And she was detailed multiple instances of him beating her up. And I couldn't believe she said that he would just wake up at 3 a.m. and start beating her while she's sleeping. That's your Maryland man, your Maryland dad. You people are sick. Really are sick. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm Adam. I'm from Jersey.
Yes.
And yeah, so you're talking about Garcia, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're saying that that Democrats want to bring him home and let him be free, but that's far from the truth. You are saying it's okay. Let me think. So. Oh fuck my brain.
Okay. First dump of the day, Mike. Oh my goodness. Oh my, if you're on hold, hang in there while we wait for the delay to rebuild. Oh my goodness. You know, there's a common theme with Democrats other than the language, okay? They can't think, can't make their points. A lot of confusion there. Did any of you see the Jesse Waters interview with Elon Musk and the Doge team yesterday? I watched it this morning. It was very good. I'm going to play one clip from it while we're waiting for the delay to re-engage. Oh my goodness. I was looking forward to talking to that guy too. I really wanted to hear his argument to bring this terrorist member, wife beater, back to the home with the woman he beat up. Just woke up at 3 a.m. and would start beating on her, according to her. All right, so this is a clip of the Doge interview with Jesse Waters last night. Listen to this. Wow. $5 trillion in payments made by our government that, you know, the United States of, one of the things that Doge found out that blew my mind, the U.S. government has one bank account and all the money's in that. One bank account. Could you imagine if they hacked it? Oh my goodness. If hackers got into that one bank account, we'd be out of business. What happened to that Social Security lockbox account they kept talking about? But anyway, they paid out $5 trillion without anybody having to give a receipt as to what the money was for. You just say, I need money, and they send it to you. Oh my goodness, a $4 billion COVID fund just with the Department of Education No proof, no receipts, nothing required. Just say, I need this money, and they send it to you.
Yo, Brian, you taking calls today or what?
Yes, hold on. Wow. They didn't want their names on it. They were getting the money anonymously with no ability to track it. And as soon as they required you to sign for the money, no one asked for money anymore. That right there tells you criminal activity, thieves. All right. Yes, we're taking calls this morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jim Cagney, long time no see. How you doing, man?
We've never seen each other. You've talked to me on the phone. It'd be long time no. It would be long time no talk. Long time no hear. Not long time no see.
No, I agree. I love arguments over words, Brian. It's great. But I got a question for you. Are you for or against deporting U.S. citizens?
Deporting U.S. citizens? It depends.
Okay, so that's a for. Well, you got to be.
No, I'm not for deporting an American citizen unless like they're in a terrorist organization, right? If you're an American citizen and you're a terrorist, you should. Okay, yes. Who's a terrorist? Yes.
You've done it, Brian. You've answered my question.
Oh, you think you caught me?
You
think you caught me? You think you caught me on something? Oh, what are you, high?
Just like take an answer to a question, Brian.
If an American citizen, hold on a second. If an American, I'm going to hang up on you in a minute if you don't stop it. If an American citizen is a member of a terrorist organization, this has been going on for over 20 years. Not only can they be deported, they can be sent to CIA black sites anywhere in the world or Guantanamo. Yeah, so that's been U.S. policy. Not just with Trump, but through Biden and Obama and George W. Bush.
So you're happy about the House Judiciary vote then?
What's that vote? I don't know what vote you're talking about.
The Judiciary Committee just voted to give Trump more authority.
Oh yeah, Trump needs more authority. Yeah.
Okay.
Why, you think he needs less authority?
You're in favor.
Yeah, sure. If somebody's a terrorist, I don't want him in our country.
Here's the thing, Brian.
Yeah.
You remember that poem I told you about?
No.
The conservative German preacher.
I don't remember really any of our I don't remember any of our conversations.
Oh, that's a shame, Brian. You're breaking my heart, let me tell you. Well, you should look into that poem. First they came for the socialists, then they came for the trade unionists.
No, that's not that you've got the poem wrong. First they came for the Jews, then they came for the blacks, and then they came for the Hispanics, then they came for the Indians, then they came for me, and there was nobody left to say anything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, that one.
But I missed the part of that. I missed the part of that poem that says they came for the terrorist, they came for the rapist, they came for the murderers. I missed that poem, but you're a weirdo, so maybe you read alt poetry. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
Man, I'm hoping that Mike Johnson would play with that MS-13's wife said, and let the Congress know that this guy, they need to stop their vacation in El Salvador and come back, and enough with this guy already, man. This guy deserves to be where he is, no doubt about it. And I'm wondering how long it's going to take before the Democrats finally wake up and realize they're making a big mistake. But so far, I think what they're doing is they're turning America off, which is good, I guess. So.
I would agree with that, Doug. Absolutely.
The other thing is I watched Jesse Waters yesterday had Doge on.
Yes.
And I'm this guy who has the sleeping disorder who for 20 years has been ripping off the country.
Oh my
how much
goodness!
Longer he's going to be getting, how much longer he's going to be getting his money? Because what is a non?
I don't know. I don't know if there's any healthcare professionals in the audience, but to me, narcolepsy, that sounds like something that you could fake.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. He's talking to you. Like you said, if he's able to talk to you, he certainly can have a job doing something.
I mean, I cannot tell you how many times have you gone to a business and there's somebody who's a dwarf, they're missing part of their foot, and they're in a motorized wheelchair and they're working. But this guy's got a sleeping disorder, and he's been retired for 20 years. Give me a break.
That's bad enough, but he's not a non-citizen. Why is a non-citizen getting these kind of benefits? This is why Doge is doing what they're doing. Stop this nonsense, man. It's all waste across the whole damn country. And I'm glad that it's finally going to end because, man, our tax dollars, maybe if they don't have to spend so much, we can have a little bit of...
Yeah, I think he needs to be re-examined by an independent doctor. Not some... I'm curious as to who gave him the diagnosis of narcolepsy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's too many people out there doing these things that are just un-American, but this guy wants to get his feet.
Now listen, that doesn't mean that if somebody is truly disabled, people have all kinds of problems, okay? But this guy, he had applied to be a U.S. citizen, he told us 3 times, and it had been denied. So there's something about him there's something about him that they don't think is good, right? And he's very entitled.
He speaks English, so that's not.
Well, you know what that is? That's the welfare mentality, the entitlement.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the sense of entitlement was the worst. And he's complaining. He's complaining that there's some type of fee that you've got to pay for the citizenship papers. I mean, I'm sorry, I got to pay fees for things to get your driver's license. You got to pay. I mean, just the sense of entitlement. What are they teaching these people in other countries about America? This is what Trump was elected to undo.
Without a doubt, I would be worried if I was him that, oh man, my disability is going to end maybe, but we'll soon see. I'm hopefully. I mean, the guy probably, if he really has what he has, all right, so he's disabled. Why doesn't he go back to where he comes from?
Exactly. All right, appreciate the call, Doug. If you are on hold, stand by on this Open Phone Friday, Open MAGA Mike Friday. We'll take our first break of the second hour and be right back. Okay, we'll be back in 2 minutes. Thank you, guys. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. This is a radio station break that we're in. We'll be back shortly, and I'll go right back to the phones. If you want to call in, it's toll-free, no matter where you're watching. The toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. America is back. Yeah, that guy can call back if he can watch his line. You cannot use profanity. Back in just over a minute. Yep, America's back. We the people are back. Our greatest president is back. It's great. Doesn't get better than this. It really doesn't get better than this, ever. Mm, 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show on this Open MAGA Mic Open Phone Friday. We had some pretty good calls so far. Some are, but most of them have been pretty good. All right, let's go back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, yes. My name's Frank. I'm calling from Northeast Ohio.
All right, Frank, what's on your mind?
So, I've had just a weird thought. Now, I had initially voted for Biden.
Oh, my
back
goodness.
In 2020.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I know. But, my parents, undocumented at the time, when Trump was elected, first time, they were much better off than when Biden was president. And despite them being undocumented, they were paying their taxes through like 1099s and trying to do the right thing, despite initially.
How does someone without documents have a Social Security number to pay taxes with?
So our government issued them a ITIN number, so they were able to pay their taxes.
Are they still illegal?
No, so actually in January, my father unfortunately passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So he wasn't alive to finally get his green card. But my mom, still alive, and she has her green card and she's working.
Where are they from? What country are they from?
Mexico City, Mexico.
Mexico City, Mexico. Okay, so okay.
So, despite, what's going on, I'm not expecting, Trump to give anyone, just hand out citizenship, because I voted for him this time around. I don't think.
Oh, so you're a U.S. citizen. You're an anchor baby. You were born in.
Well, I was born here.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be very successful like I am now. But I always have this conflicting thought, yes, I'm happy, myself that I voted for Trump. He's doing good things, but there seems to be an issue with clearing the swamp. It's the swamp doesn't want to change.
Listen, it's huge, right? And it's a huge swamp, and he's done a great job. Shutting USAID down, it really. That did a lot of damage to them, and he's been president just over 100 days, and he's cleaned up a lot of it. How long were your parents here illegally?
It's been 22 years.
Oh my goodness! They're how did your mom get a green card after she was here illegally for almost quarter of a century?
Yeah, so like I said, they had 22 years worth of taxes. They have never committed any violent crimes or anything
But they did commit the crime of being here illegally, and I don't understand how they paid taxes all those years without having documents.
Well, the government knew they were here because they did the right thing and notified them, and they applied 3 times to get a visa. And, you know, I'm not even talking permanent residency, just acknowledging the fact that they're here.
Taking jobs away, and for over 20 years, they were taking a job that either a legal immigrant or an Americans could have had. That's awful.
Well, people don't want to do landscaping.
All right, what are you talking about? That's not true. You know, I got a landscaper that mows my lawn and takes care of things. He's an American. He has Americans that work for him. You know, there are Americans who do landscaping.
It's not a desirable job.
So what? You know, the guy I have, he's an American. He only hires Americans. He does everything above board. And there's a lot of illegal lawn crews around that he's got to compete with. And they get paid under the table and everything. No. There are plenty of Americans who want to be in the landscaping business. It's actually quite lucrative. I'm not too at my age. I don't mow the lawn anymore. It's, Florida heat, and anything I plant dies. And if I want to plant bushes or shrubs or trees, I hire a landscaper, and they're Americans. And it's not cheap. No, I'm sorry to tell you. And in Ohio, which is where I'm in Florida now, but I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. Big part of the year the ground's frozen, so landscapers, they can make good money during those certain months of the year. That's just not true. That Americans don't want that job. Illegals have put a lot of Americans out of business in the landscaping business. That's for sure. But no, that is definitely a profession that Americans want. No, I'm sorry. That's illegals have destroyed the American landscaping business.
Yeah, I mean I don't see anyone complaining when they pay taxes, despite them being here.
I question that. I don't know how illegals are paying taxes. I don't know.
I mean, you can do a quick Google search. It's something the U.S. government has issued.
A lot of illegals though. If you're undocumented, how can you have a document to pay taxes? Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I gotta run for our break, but oh my goodness, we're hearing from really. We got that one guy who's a non-citizen, 20 years with his narcolepsy disability. We got this. I'm glad the president and his team are in town. I hope the Mar-a-Lago crowd are listening to the program this morning. Look what we got going on here. The guy in the first hour that called, he's not a U.S. citizen. His citizenship has been denied 3 times. He's been on Social Security disability for 20 years for narcolepsy, and now this. Oh, man. Now, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. When I first met with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I'd never been on any type of weight reduction or diet plan or anything, really, ever. And I thought, oh, man, I'm going to have to eat foods that don't taste good. I'm only going to be able to eat a little piece of food every day, and I'm going to be starving all the time. I'm going to have to exercise. I'm going to be hungry and starving all day and all night. None of those things are true. With Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I've lost over 35 pounds, no exercise. I'm eating foods I would normally eat. I'm not taking any prescription medications, like Ozempic or anything, and I'm not hungry. And if you remember, before I started with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I was always on the air I can't wait to get off the air to eat. I'm starving. I don't have those problems anymore. Now, I lost a little more than 35 pounds. My goal was 25, and I went above that. But no matter what you want to lose, whether it's 20 or 25 or 40 or 50 or 100 or 200 or any other weight north or south of that, give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. It works. I'm proof of it. I really am. And I know a lot of you have gone to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I've been hearing from listeners who have lost a lot of weight, and that's really awesome. I also have a ton of energy that I didn't have before, which is amazing. I didn't even think about that. I just wanted to lose some weight and look better. Give them a call. Now, when you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. 6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. Callers on hold standby. We'll take our bottom of the hour break and be right back. Man, oh man. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go back to the phones after the break. Great calls today, but I'm shocked at how many people we're hearing that are not about U.S. citizens milking the system. I mean, my goodness. Especially, at this hour of the day when, you're an American or maybe a legal immigrant, you're up early going to work, or maybe you're in another time zone, it's the middle of the night and you're at work and then you hear this stuff. Doesn't it tick you off? It should. It should. But, Trump's back and the gravy train's ending. Yeah, it's upsetting. Ross just subscribed. Welcome, Ross, new subscriber. Okay, we'll be back in about 90 seconds. Yeah, if you want to call in, the number's toll-free. The toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. Very good calls today, I must say. $30 seconds, guys. It is, Jeff. Great day to be an American. Absolutely. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Open phone, open MAGA mic Friday. Any and everything on your mind's fair game on Friday's show to call in about. We've had spectacular calls today that have been really revealing and sometimes disturbing. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Turn down the volume. Turn down the volume of what you're listening to me on in the back, all right?
Sorry.
I can still hear it. Turn it down, Stoner. All right, go ahead. Oh, my goodness.
Hello, I'm calling from northern Michigan, and
yeah, here we go. Yeah.
I just want to thank you for taking a break in between your Coke binges to answer my question.
Oh, is that?
Trump eats dick for dinner?
Okay, there we go. Second dump of the day, Mike. If you're on hold, stand by as we wait for the delay to re-engage. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. We are. That's the. For those of you that are new to the program, we do something on this program that no one else does, and I think it's one of the things that make this program the greatest talk radio show in the history of talk radio. And that is, our calls are screenless, 100% unvetted. When someone calls in, they just get put on hold. No one answers the phone. Now, we could have someone answer the phones. Other shows do. We don't do it. And the reason we don't do it is many reasons, but mainly it makes the show more exciting, a little more spontaneous. I don't know who's on hold. I don't know what they're going to say. The people on hold, when they get on the air, they haven't gotten off their chest to a call. There's all kinds of reasons why we don't do that. And it's a double-edged sword, because as much of an important part of the show it is, the price is, some of the, weirdos that wouldn't get through on other radio shows, but we're the best. So that's the price you got to pay for being number one. All right, our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air.
Oh, hey, good morning, Brian.
Yeah, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Danielle calling from Michigan.
Danielle, what's up?
Happy Friday.
Yes.
Good morning. Happy Friday. What a great day. There's so many great things to talk about every single day of what Trump is doing. I don't know where to begin. But the one thing that yesterday, the prayer at the White House, yesterday with what happened to Mike Waltz, last night in Alabama. I mean, every day is a beautiful day, but I have a comment I need to make, because all this week it's bothered me. I am so perturbed, upset, and don't understand, Brian, why your callers are so upset about this Maryland father. I can't get over the fact that these people don't understand what is going on in the country. And when you come into this country illegally, you're a criminal.
Correct. And by the way, I know they want to say it's a civil crime. That's not true. That it is to come into the country illegally is it's a federal crime. You've committed a federal crime. We do our listener cruise every year, our MAGA cruise. I got to bring my passport. Okay, and you know what? My passport, I got to renew it before the next cruise. It'll be 10 years we've been doing these. Passports are good for 10 years. If I don't have the passport, I can't go. They won't let me board. Why do I need a document?
Yeah.
But that guy that just called me, and I really question I question the fact that his parents were paying income taxes being illegal. I don't think that's possible. Not legally.
Yeah. I agree. I just tell you, I can't believe some of your callers, though. I don't know if it was Jay or Renee or who. These people need to understand. These people have to go.
Oh, Jay and Renee, it's easy. They're racist. They hate whitey. So anyone who's not white, okay, they're going to support. Now, if the uncontrolled immigration were Irishmen and women, they'd have a big problem with it because they're white. Or Russians because they're white.
Yeah.
But they're black and brown, so they're supporting them. And I got to tell you guys, the Hispanics that come here illegally, they're of European descent too. Okay, they're not Aztecs and they're not Aztecs and Mayans. Okay, they're Spaniard and Portuguese descent, Europeans. But they don't let that sink into their. All they see is they're not white.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say happy Friday, great show, and keep up the good work.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Kim in Augusta.
Kim in Augusta, Georgia. What's up?
I was thinking yesterday, I was watching the national prayer thing and all, and, how Biden was always taking vacations. He wasn't never there. Does President Trump ever take a vacation?
Not that I know of. And I remember in the first campaign, I think it was Ivanka said he never takes vacations. He tried it once or twice, but he can't do it. He works constantly.
Golfing must be his vacation then.
The golfing's good because it's exercise. He gets some sun, and he does. And these guys that are all day golfers, you know, they do a lot of business on the golf course too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I was just wondering about that.
All right, take care. No, he does not take vacations. No. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Brian Craig from...
Okay, I appreciate that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Jason from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hey, Vegas. What's up?
I was scrolling. I didn't see the show yesterday, but I watching it for a minute this morning about habeas corpus, and
yes,
I really think that they should suspend habeas corpus for all non-citizens and all illegals. I said I think he should suspend the habeas corpus for all the people that aren't here legally because they shouldn't have all the same rights as legal citizens. Because that's what I thought. I didn't think they had the same rights.
Yeah, anyone in the United States has constitutional rights. It protects everybody inside the borders. However, if you're an invading force, you don't have constitutional protections. Like in the War of 1812, when the redcoats came back and invaded, they didn't have, constitutional protections. When the Japanese invaded Alaska during the Second World War, they didn't have constitutional protections. Right? Roosevelt sent the army to kill the invaders in Alaska. So no. When you're an invader, when you're an invading army, which is what we have from the southern border, it's a whole nother thing. You're an enemy combatant.
Right. I was when that whole thing was going on the whole 4 years, I said we should send like 10 or 20 million troops to the border. But I guess we only sent a few thousand.
No, the entire border is shut down. They let 6 or 9 people got through that they let in because they needed they were about to die from the heat and the travel. It was health reasons. Yeah, it was medical. But no, they only let only 9 people got in, and they were let in. The border is shut down. The southern border is shut down.
Oh, I know it's shut down. I'm just saying, like a couple years ago, I wanted to shut it down with like a whole bunch of troops on the border and like treat it like a war, like. I mean, I was telling my friends, like, hey, if China...
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
If China was invading the southern border, we wouldn't just let them walk in. We'd have all the army down there with tanks and bombs and shooting them and stuff.
Well, if you had a Republican in the White House, the Democrats would welcome the Chinese in. Hey, thank you for the call. I gotta run, and I want to tell you guys about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment. And, here, it's the weekend, man. It's Friday. It's almost 9 o'clock in the morning in an hour and 17 minutes. And doesn't everyone's weekend start at 9 a.m. on Friday? Like mine. But the weekend's here. If you're in pain, your weekend won't be as fun as if you're not in pain like me. I'm completely pain-free, thanks to Dr. Appleton ridding me of pain 7 times from injuries, arthritis, knee conditions, all kinds of problems. And many of you listeners out there that I've met over the last 2.5 years since Dr. Appleton has been with us, you're pain-free too, aren't you? Isn't it amazing? With Dr. Appleton, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. And most of the time when I've gone to see Dr. Appleton, it's on Saturdays. I just show up like you can do. You can't now, just because appointments are not necessary, it doesn't mean that you cannot make an appointment. You can make an appointment, but you don't have to. And, and the reason Dr. Appleton does that is he knows when you're in pain, you need help, you need it now. His laser wave pain treatment is 100% painless. You don't even feel it while it's happening. There's no shots, no injections, no drugs, no downtime, and of course, no appointment is necessary. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain, like I've done 7 times. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll take our last break of the second hour and be right back. Someone says, why don't you do more research? I have 30 years of research. Before I go on the air each day, I do 2 to 3 hours of show prep and research. And before I go on the air every morning. And of course, when you're in this line of work, your whole life is research because you follow the news and the issues and everything that's going on. Somebody in the chat said, why don't I do more research? My whole life is research. You know, millennials and Gen Z, all they do is prep for things. They never do, especially the Gen Zs. They would do endless research and then never do anything. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. You know, these judges that got arrested last week, that was pretty awesome, wasn't it? And Tom Homan was taking some questions at the White House, and they asked him about these sanctuary city people that are harboring these federal fugitives from justice. Wait, let them see what's coming. Wait until you see what's coming, he said. He wasn't mic'd up, Tom Homan, but he said, wait until you see what's coming, Tom Homan. Oh, man. The last guy you want on your tail is Tom Homan. Could you imagine? Would you want Tom Homan on your tail? Oh, no. So, and he said it, he was smiling. So that means there's some other public, I hope it's a mayor he's talking about. You know, these officials, these government officials, sometimes they're mayors, sometimes they're police chiefs, sheriffs, you know, different officials, judges. And for some reason, these city councils and all this stuff, they think they have the right to declare their cities a safe sanctuary zone for federal fugitives. You can't do that. What if someone said, this city, I'm the mayor of Boston, and this city is a sanctuary city for kidnappers. That's a federal crime. Can't do that. Can't do that. If you do that, you're breaking the law. Some big laws, too. You know, and it's about time we have someone like President Trump with this great, perfect team around him to bring these people to justice. And those judges, if you noticed, in particular, the Wisconsin judge that helped that illegal escape last week that got arrested on Friday in her robe. Yeah, governors too. There's governors that are guilty of this. You notice you haven't heard anything about that in the news all week because the mainstream media, even they know that it was what she did was wrong. They don't want to highlight it. They don't want to focus on it because anyone who sees that story sees that what she did is criminal. You cannot give safe harbor to federal fugitives from justice. I don't care if you're a governor, a mayor, a city council, a sheriff, or police chief, or dog catcher. You can't do it. And I cannot wait. I hope it's a mayor, a governor, something high profile, and someone whose name we're familiar with, because you just can't do that. And that'll be a glorious arrest. And like the judges on Friday, people will support it. Now, I started the show at 6, but for those of you that weren't tuning in, I want to recap this. If you're on hold, hang in there. It is Open Mega Mic Friday. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. And, of course, on Open Mega Mic Friday, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. You don't have to talk about anything we bring up, although I think I brought up some good things. But I wanted to, you know, President Trump did something yesterday that was hilarious and just totally trolled the media, and it just blew me away. So I can't remember exactly what time the story broke yesterday, but not long after I got off the air yesterday, the story came out that Mike Waltz was stepping down as National Security Advisor. That was the story. That was it. And then what did we hear? Immediately, the media started saying he was fired over the signal chat. Then I started hearing reporters say, you know, my sources inside the Trump White House. Now, first of all, liberal reporters do not have sources in Trump's circle, all right? But they claim to. Then I heard one guy, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 sources he had. He said it was either 3 or 4. I have 3, or it may have been 4, independent sources who have told me that not only was Mike Waltz fired, but that they wanted to fire him for quite some time, even before the signal chat. And this was within like an hour or two. It was feeding on itself from the liberal media, because the liberal mainstream fake news, Trump-hating, Trump derangement syndrome suffering media have been desperate to get someone in the Trump cabinet, in the Trump circle. Now, National Security Advisor is not cabinet, but they've been desperate to get someone fired by Trump or force them out. And they thought they finally had it. And then it happened so quick. Within 2 hours, we get the update. President Trump posts on Truth Social, Mike Waltz, I've nominated Mike Waltz to be the UN ambassador for the United States. If he was fired, he wouldn't be the UN ambassador. He would just be fired, right? In fact, when this story first came, people, they were immediately trying to, because this story, when the first part with him resigning as National Security Advisor became the #1 story in America instantly, and people in media wanted to jump on the bandwagon of the trend. So they rushed to, he was fired in the signal chat, and was it before the signal chat, and all this stuff. If that were the case, he would not be nominated to be UN ambassador. UN ambassador is a very prestigious job. You get that title of ambassador that you have for your life. And UN ambassadors sometimes don't do that much. But in this instance, because we're involved in global negotiations with the trade wars and everything that's going on, it's a very, very important, very high-ranking position to have. You don't fire someone because of all these terrible things and then nominate them for such a prestigious thing where they have this lifetime title. And actually, being ambassador is a rank with the diplomatic corps, okay? They do answer to the Secretary of State, but it is a rank with the diplomatic corps. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. So no, he wasn't fired. So then they tried to morph, well, he's no longer in the inner circle. Really? You don't think he could get Trump on the phone? Come on, of course he would. But the media, it was a textbook example of the fake news media, with all their independent sources confirming things that weren't true. So that tells you what I've suspected for years. The media rarely really have sources. They've got this racket, this scam going. Their sources shall never be revealed. So they don't need to have sources. They just make stuff up and say their sources are telling them, because the sources are always secret. They don't have sources, especially inside Trump's inner circle. They've been firing any leakers that come out. So if there were any leakers left, they're going to be terrified to leak anything, because they don't want to be fired and maybe even have charges brought against them in the Justice Department and get a criminal referral, because a lot of that's been going on too. So they were all exposed yesterday for having nothing. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Hey, Jay from Jersey. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. You gonna let me talk this morning, or you just gonna hang up on me when I say something? It scares you.
Oh, you're gonna scare me. I can't wait.
I scare you every day.
In your mind.
And you have to hang up the phone so nobody hears.
Well, I will say, sometimes you do scare me. Sometimes I fear that you may bore the listening audience to death. So I do worry about that. Yeah. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's a good thing to worry about.
Yeah,
really
I don't want to bore the audience, and
Yeah, what I called about today, what I get to say what I want to say. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, because everybody in the world is trying to figure this out, that Donald Trump has been president since January, took over a whole quarter. When he took over, the economy was at a certain level, and now it's down. And he said it's because of Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody laughs when you hear that, because he's in charge. And it was up, and now it's down.
Okay. What was it? Okay. What was it, and what is it now?
It's 3%.
What does that mean? 3% of what?
Well, that's me. That's just the way they say.
Well, you're giving me an opinion.
At 3%.
The economy.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
What sector?
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hold on.
Don't try to act stupid.
Calm down. You're getting hysterical.
No, because you try to go over it.
What? No, I want to learn something. I want to learn something. What sector are the?
You know it already.
What sector?
You know it already.
What sectors of the economy are down?
You don't act like you're the stupid idiot that you are. You heard it on the news.
No.
Just like
You've got some opinion about the economy, so I'm trying to. Obviously, you wouldn't call in and not have an informed opinion.
Go by what I said. What Trump said the other day.
What sector?
That's what I want you to go by.
What? Yeah, I'll tell you this. This morning before the show.
You're his man. You're in charge of his thing.
Okay.
So you know
yeah. Trump has me in charge of his thing. This morning, excuse me. This morning, slow down. This morning, I went by the gas station before the show. Gas.
Oh God! Why can't he ever answer the question?
Gas was $2.59 a gallon. Before Trump.
I went past the grocery store. Wait a minute. I went through the grocery store and I got a bag and a half, and it cost me $125.
Really? What was in that? What was in that bag? What was in that bag? Hold on. What was in that bag? What was in the bag?
I stood in front of the egg.
What was in the bag?
Where you get the eggs at. I said to everybody standing
what was in the bag?
Trump said, wait a minute.
What was it? No, we're up against the break. What?
2 dozen of eggs.
You bought 2 dozen eggs. What else was in the bag?
Oh, what else was in the bag?
You said it cost $150.
You know, you act like a clown. You can't answer the question because you know.
What else was in that? Was all right. No, it's time for a break. That was $12. What was the other $130 some dollars? We'll be right back. Unbelievable. How much did he say the bag cost? Did he say $150? What was the price he gave me? Do you remember? Yeah, 150. Did he say 150? 125. Okay. How much were the eggs? A Scout, hold on. He said 125. How much were the eggs? 12 what? He said 12. Did he say $12? Even? So that leaves $113. One bag. What else was in the bag? Unreal. Yeah, prime ribs. Yeah, exactly. Kobe beef. Sirloin. All right, Scott, stand by 20 seconds.
Sure, no problem, Brian. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Callers on hold, stand by. We're going to check in with Scott from Cut My Kilowatts, who's going to tell you how he can save you money each and every month for the rest of the time that you live in your home. Scott, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Brian. I'm here to talk about the miracles of radiant barrier, which we've been doing in South Florida for almost 15 years now. I believe you helped me launch this business 15 years ago on the Steve Kane Radio Show. And for the last 15 years, we've been putting radiant barrier in people's houses and cutting their electric bills, up to 20-30% with radiant barrier. If they do insulation along with it, another 10%, that's up to 40%. We've been cutting their AC runtime in half, which means their air conditioners last longer. They require less servicing, and they don't have the drains plugging as much. They're working nonstop.
And I got to tell you, Scott. We were talking earlier this week. Not only are you saving money each and every month on your electric bill because your AC is not running as often, it doesn't have to because the radiant barriers reduce the temperature in your home. But we were talking about how a lot of people think that they need a new AC unit. They find out they don't. And it also, because your AC is not running as long and as hard and as often, it prolongs the life of your AC a lot. A few months ago, I had to buy a new AC unit for my house. Let me tell you, they are not cheap. I've had cars that cost a lot less that were new. AC, so anything that'll save you from buying an air conditioner, that's money in the bank.
Absolutely, and the other thing is the ACs don't cycle properly if they run all the time.
That's correct.
There's efficiency, and it's like a losing battle. They don't catch up till 3 or 4 in the morning. So when you put the radiant barrier in, that stops that whole heat gain cycle. It's like having a big shade tree over your house. But it's located inside the attic where no one can see it.
Yeah, and Scott alluded in the beginning. Scott joins us every summer here on the Steve Kane Show and has for 15 years. And his radiant barrier, it is absolutely amazing. And those of you that were the first 15 years ago, I wonder how much those people have saved over 15 years on their electric bill, Scott. It's got to be a lot of money.
Yeah, and right now it's still cool out. It's still cool enough out. We haven't switched to the hot months of the summer, where the prices have to go up because the labor just takes longer. The guys have to take breaks. So I can pass that labor savings on to you. I'm actually charging less for the product now than I was 15 years ago because we've just become so efficient at installing it. And, we went from 48-inch rolls down to 26-inch rolls. So everything fits perfect. It goes up very quick. Most companies won't even do radiant barrier because it's just so hard to do the work and no one wants to do it, crawling around and getting in all the nooks and crannies.
Yeah, attics really are crawl spaces. Scott from Cut My Kilowatts, I'm going to give you his number. This brings directly to his cell phone. You can call in or text. Scott will give you a quote right over the phone, 954-939-1500. 954-939-1500. That's 954-939-1500. All right, Scott, we'll talk next week.
Thank Thanks. It's easier than ordering a pizza, getting a quote.
That's right. Take care. All right. Good one. I like that. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. I'd like to address
Richie.
from Jersey.
Yeah, so,
on
yeah.
the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Hey, Jay, and I know you're still listening. You know, you should be happy that if you spent $150 at your supermarket, at least you know that you're not paying for somebody else's food 3 meals a day in a 5-star hotel. Millions of people that you're not paying for now because thank God for President Trump. The fact of the matter is, you nitpick at everything, but the mush brain that was in the White House before spent 4 years letting about 15 million illegal people into this country. And a lot of them are killers.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, Richie, when people talk about the economy, all of us look at our own personal economy. And this is what I know, okay? Gas prices are down a lot. It was at the gas station by my house and by the way, don't just take my word for it. Before the radio show in the mornings, I'll live stream on YouTube. I went out to get coffee and I'm live streaming on YouTube and I saw the gas station. Yesterday it was $2.60 a gallon. It went down to $2.59 and I showed it on my YouTube video. So you guys can go to my YouTube video and see it, $2.59 a gallon. Before Trump's second term, I was paying over $3 a gallon. You know, my daughter told me she's on a trip. She's driving. She filled up her car in Los Angeles, $5.45 a gallon. And that was Wednesday, $5.45 a gallon in California because they have all these environmental taxes. Renee's calling us from New York City. They're not quite as bad as California, but they got all kinds of ridiculous liberal taxes on top of what the cost is. And I'm sorry that you live in a liberal place, but you're overtaxed there. That's why the prices are higher. I mean, he said he had one bag of groceries, $20, $125. He paid $12 for 2 dozen eggs.
He probably bought lobster.
Or
not for nothing.
Yeah.
Not for nothing. But I want to. You also brought up earlier this morning about the National Security Advisor being fired, and all the reports were coming on that Trump fired his first guy. The guy had inside people that were undermining Trump and all. I listen to this garbage, and then he comes out with the other, that he's going to be the UN ambassador. And you want to know why I think he not only trolled the news, but I think that he's got somebody within that White House that's leaking crap out. And I think they have an idea who it is. And I actually think he went to that one person, or he whittled it down. He probably went to maybe 2, and he told them, I'm going to let what's his name go.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that, Richie. There was a story recently where something leaked out. So they've obviously been trying to expose someone they don't trust that's working in the White House. Yeah.
And I think this is going to come out of it that actually they found out who was the leaker because he probably gave it to just 1 or 2 people, that information, without giving them the second half of the information. So he killed 2 birds with 1 stone. The man is brilliant. People that think the economy is going to turn around, the economy is not bad at all. I mean, I go to the food stores, like I said, I'm not paying for illegal people anymore, and that makes me happy.
And by the way, we're about. Thanks for the call, Richie. I appreciate it. Now, those of you that are wondering, because Richie called in the first hour, I was short. I told Richie he could call back. Okay, yeah, which I don't normally do. I told him he could call back later in the show, and he did make a good point about President Trump trying to expose a leaker. That is very possible. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll free. It is open, MAGA Mike, open phone Friday. Any and everything on your mind's fair game on Friday's show. 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you are listening. And I do think that that's a strong possibility. Listen, what I was talking about there, though, people are concerned about their personal economy, right? Their personal finances. The money that people are saving on gasoline is life-changing money for people. And the big, beautiful bill where we're going to get the largest tax cut in history, that's going to be another rebate. So while there was massive inflation under Biden and this wino drunk Kamala. Did you see her on stage the other day? She was totally in the bag. I didn't hear Renee from Harlem complaining about grocery prices during those 4 years when they were going up through the roof, have you? No. But, you know, President Trump is lowering the prices of things in amazing ways. Gasoline, this big tax cut and the big beautiful bill that's coming, that's another way you're going to be saving a lot of money. And prices will start to come down after the gasoline prices go through the supply chain a little bit longer. All right, let's go. Hold on. Wrong line. There you go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jerry, Fort Lauderdale.
Jay in Fort Lauderdale. What's on your mind? Go ahead. You're on the air.
The guy that called that said that the boats were waiting offshore for China.
Oh, the other day, yes.
And he said he's going to stock up on soap. It didn't even make sense. The soap doesn't come from, most of the soap is Procter & Gamble and Dial soap made in Colombia. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, what he said is, he said the last Chinese cargo ship is going to dock on the East Coast and the West Coast on certain days. And they're soap ships, I guess. I don't. It was the guy from Sarasota. Yeah, very strange call.
Yeah, now the Tide factories are in America.
Yeah. So another lying liberal.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate the call. Yeah, I did not know that the soap's not made in China. That's good. That's good. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. It's Carrie. How are you today, sir?
All right, Carrie. What's up?
Two things. What's going on with iHeartRadio?
The online feed's down. That happens sometimes. You know, the internet's not as reliable as, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work.
All right.
So
Also,
nothing really.
What's happening with this musical they're having in San Francisco, Luigi?
Oh yeah, the pharmaceutical murderer. They're putting on I think it's a musical comedy about Luigi. Yeah. Let them do it. Remember what they did in Trump's first term? They put on that Julius Caesar Trump play in the park in New York. Let the liberals put on their Luigi musical comedy. It'll go viral all over the internet, and they'll do more damage to themselves. These people are insane, man.
They're very sick, very sick.
Well, that's why they're Democrats. All right, appreciate the call, Carrie. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Shane from Jensen Beach.
Hey, Jensen Beach. What's on your mind?
Oh, I just wanted to help you out. I lived in Palm Beach County for a long time, and at Lake Worth, and I was just going to tell you about the number that the gentleman that called earlier that his parents had about paying taxes.
Yeah.
I met a lot of people in Lake Worth, and when I lived there, and once they have a child, the illegals, they get put on WIC, and then they get put on food stamps, and then after that happens, the government will issue them that number in the hopes that one of the persons in the household will legally be able to get a job and actually pay taxes.
Oh, that's
and
insane.
They get tax returns too.
That's insane.
No, they do. They actually get tax returns too. If you go to the Lantana in 95, there's a clinic there. You can go in there, and the whole building is full of them.
That's
absolutely full of them out the door.
So basically, it's government corruption and a racket.
It's the government's fault that it's been going on. It's been going on at least 15 years. I used to live in Lake Worth for a long time.
That's disgusting.
So, yeah, it's definitely been going on for a long time. It's the government, sir.
Yeah, that's
It sure
insane.
is.
All right.
Well, my neighbors, I lived in a duplex, and my two neighbors had two kids. They were on full-time food stamps, and they used to get a huge tax return when I used to not get a tax return at all because I was single. You know.
Oh, they get a refund? They would get a refund?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
They get a huge refund because they have kids. Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Illegals would get a refund?
Yes, they do, sir. It's just a child tax credit.
That's the child tax credit. Oh, my goodness. It's disgusting.
Okay, and one last thing before I go. Did you see Brian Miller fillet that news reporter at the press conference yesterday?
Stephen Miller.
It
Yes.
was awesome. Yeah, Stephen Miller. I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
Stephen Miller.
Yeah,
when
it was
he
good.
told them that they wouldn't even move into a house if he gave it to them for free.
Yeah.
Free with the gang members living next door.
Of course.
Great. It was priceless.
Stephen Miller's always great.
Priceless. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, he's awesome. Well, you take care, man. Have a good weekend.
All right, appreciate the call. Listen, we're going to take our first break of the third hour and be back.
Hey guys, it's Kathy. I'm finally back in the art studio. I've had the flu.
Back in just over a minute. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on this open MAGA mic, Open Phone Friday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott from Kansas City.
All right, Scott in Kansas City. What's on your mind?
Well, one thing, and I'd like to hear your feedback, is I've never heard a documentary, an investigation on how money is made from illegal aliens once they're in the United States. There's lots of stuff that I know of, but tying it all together, and if Trump is successful, he's going to cut a lot of people's meal ticket.
Well, no, he is. You know, what President Trump has done, and border crossings are down 99.99%. It was either 6 or 9 people got through that they let through for medical reasons. So he's shut down the illegal immigration. What President Trump has done at the southern border is historic in nature, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. What he has done is greater in so many ways than even what Abraham Lincoln did when he ended slavery. He ended a slave trade practice. Across that southern border, these 20 million that came in, how many of them are slaves?
There's that.
Not just sex slavery, by the way, labor slavery. So President Trump has ended a modern day slave passage and slave trade that was going on from our southern border. The NAACP should give him their annual award just for that. And
well, they're not going to do that.
Why not? He ended slavery. They're all about slavery. You know, the other thing is what you said. Yes, there's a lot of people that are going to have a hard time with their businesses and economy that depend on the illegals. Absolutely.
Can I give you an example?
All right.
Yeah. Well, for one thing, nobody has ever made a documentary on the huge commodity that comes from illegal immigration and occupation, which is debt. And as well, or I'll give you another example, and nobody even knows about this. Grocery stores make huge money from such places as Western Union, who make huge money sending cash money out of the country.
Yeah, that's true.
From
Correct.
People who are paid in cash.
Yeah. But you know, you're right. You know, I was talking, a guy earlier called in, his parents were illegal in the landscaping business. And I was talking about the illegal lawn crews that my American lawn guys got to compete with. And as I said that, I realized, you know, I'm not seeing those illegal lawn crews driving all through my neighborhood anymore. I used to see them like crazy. Because of Trump, they're afraid.
Do you ever see kind of a ratty vans and trucks and trailers with ladders on top of them in your area?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because those are guys who have bought, they may have green cards, or they have bought illegally Social Security cards, whereupon which they can get driver's licenses.
That's right.
And then they can hire a middleman who has maybe 15 illegal guys in a house who every morning they all get up, they all put on their clothes, and they go work.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Cash money.
It's crazy. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. You make some good points from Kansas City. Now, I want to talk about Joe Thomas. You know, Joe Thomas, call him about annuities. You know, all this talk about I don't worry about the economy. You know, if you're in the stock market, you worry a lot. It goes up, it goes down, you lose, and it's so stressful. With annuities, your hard-earned money is never at risk. You're never going to lose any money. Plus, you're guaranteed a revenue stream, an income stream for the rest of your life. And you know, Joe Thomas offers free phone consultations. And you can take advantage of his free phone consultations no matter where you're located in the United States. But that phone consultation, I like to share this every once in a while, just so you can understand the value of what you're getting at no charge. Joe Thomas has been in the retirement planning industry for over 30 years, and he's a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by less than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. So he's a top guy in the industry, and he's offering you his time for free in the form of a free phone consultation. You know, talk to him, call him, talk to him about annuities. After that consultation on the phone, Joe Thomas is going to put together a custom proposal just for you based on your situation, your needs, your goals. All right, you got nothing to lose and just a lot to gain. Give him a call. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. If you missed the number, just go to his website, JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com. We'll be right back. 30 seconds. We'll be back, guys. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. And I got to tell you, celebrating 48 years on the radio, The Steve Kane Show very likely is the longest-running radio show with the same host in the United States. It's hard to verify. The Grand Ole Opry takes the claim of being the longest-running radio show, but that's not like with the host and everything and the same people for all that time. I think this might be the longest-running radio show in the United States. With the same host, Steve Kane? I think so. It's hard to verify that. I have verified, though, this is the longest-running radio show in the state of Florida. It's Open Mag and Mike Friday, and I got to tell you, we've had some great calls today, and everyone who's called in today, you've added a lot to the conversation. Before I go back to the phones, there's a couple things, though. I want to replay that audio that I played of the fake Maryland man's wife, and then I got an article I want to share. This is important stuff, and the mainstream media are not going to share this with you. It is Open Mag and Mike Friday, open phones every Friday. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Okay. So I came across this audio early this morning. It is the fake Maryland man's wife talking about the beatdowns he gave to her, some of them, and why she didn't pursue it in the courts. And I did something with this that I may have only done one other time. I made a copy of it. And the reason I made a copy of it is the mainstream media don't want you to hear this, and this may get disappeared. Okay, and just fade away into wherever things go. And I wanted to make sure, because this is an important story that's not over yet, and I wanted to keep this audio. So this is the Maryland man, Garcia's wife, talking about the beatdowns that she took from him. Wow. By the way, now you're in kidnapping. He wouldn't let her leave. So on top of the wife beating, we can add kidnapping. You hold someone, that's what OJ went to prison for. He wouldn't let those guys leave the hotel room, remember? That's kidnapping. Mm. Wow. You really think she wants him back home? Why are the Democrats trying to bring that monster back into the home with this woman? He would wake up at 3 a.m. and just start beating on her while she's sleeping? That's a monster. That's a monster. Now, there's an article in the New York Post, this from a couple days ago, April 30th. Here's the headline. Kilmar Garcia bragged he could kill his wife and get away with it. MS-13 member Kilmar Garcia once boasted he could kill his wife and no one could do anything to him, according to a request for a motion for a protective order she filed in 2020. He's a bad man. You're a Maryland man. Scary. I also have a recording that he told my ex-mother-in-law that even if he kills me, no one could do anything to him. This is what his wife wrote in the court document that she filed in the District Court of Maryland on April 3rd, 2020. The newly surfaced document preceded the 2021 protective order request she filed against her husband. In that document, she alleged he punched, scratched, and grabbed her, with some of the alleged abuse so severe she was left with bruises and bleeding. The 2020 request for a protective order details a fight the couple allegedly had, with her alleging that the Maryland man, now those of you that are liberal, aren't you starting to say, you know what, he does belong in jail. He does belong in prison. The 2020 request for protective order details a fight the couple had, with the wife alleging that he took her phone and demanded her car keys, flying into a rage when she refused. She said she went upstairs to cook breakfast for the kids, but Garcia shut off the stove before locking the children in their bedroom, according to the court document. So he's also terrorizing the children. Garcia's wife claimed she retrieved her phone from the car and called 911, but Garcia had locked her out of the house when she tried to go back inside. So this monster's inside with the kids, this poor mother. He eventually let her into the house, and when officers arrived, she said he smashed her phone in front of the officers. This is according to the protective request that was submitted to the judge. She wrote in the document that the incidents like this have been commonplace, and she had photos of bruises that he had left on her body. Me and my kids are afraid now. He kicked me, pushed me, slapped me in the face, and threatened me, she alleged in the filing. An attorney representing Garcia's family didn't immediately respond to the New York Post request for comment. The court filing goes on to talk about several other allegations of violence and physical abuse in 2019. The wife wrote, Garcia grabbed me by the hair in the car, and he allegedly did so again the next month, dragging her out of the car and leaving her in the front seat. I mean, that's by the hair? This is as bad as wife beating gets. This guy's an animal. Any other Democrats want to go down there and have margaritas with him? The wife also wrote in the document about a January 2020 incident in which Garcia allegedly broke her son's tablet computer and broke doors in the couple's home. She wrote in March 2020 that he pushed me against a wall and broke a phone, a television, and damaged the walls. 8 days after she filed the document with the court to rescind it. And that's when she's talking about how the family talked her out of it. I mean, this woman, does she really want him back? Do you really want to send him back to her? Think about what you're doing, Democrats. All right, to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
You know, I was the DJT Productions with this Mike Waltz story. As soon as that came out yesterday, I immediately, same reaction I had to the 2-year-old being deported. That it was BS. I mean, I just thought there's no way that he's firing him. He's got to be moving him. I just waited a few hours, and then bam, there was the story. It's almost like you, Brian. You know, if when you moved from the station where, like today, you're at the house out of your studio there at home. You know, a lefty Democrat would put out they put out a big story. Brian Craig removed from radio station, fired.
Yeah.
and then the next morning you'd be doing the show from
Well,
the studio.
the thing with
lie about everything.
the thing with Mike Waltz, when I saw that story yesterday, it didn't make sense. I mean, he was in Congress. He left Congress to be there. So and I know that Trump is not going to give the media what they want. Even if somebody messed up big, I don't think he'd fire them right now. He would just sideline them, and we wouldn't know about it because he doesn't want to give them the media. So I knew some.
I agree with that.
I didn't know what was going on, but I didn't do what the rest did. I could have gone on the air on YouTube or something and done a quick video about it and try to get a lot of, because it was a hot. And I said there's more to this. I'm going to wait till later in the day. And then about 30 minutes to an hour, the story got updated. The president's going to comment on it later today. And then about another hour goes by and we get the UN ambassadorship. I don't believe he's been fired or sidelined. If he was sidelining him, there's a lot less prestigious jobs than UN ambassador he could get. He could make him ambassador to the Americas, whatever that is. He can get him a job with the FDA. He could have. This is not sidelining. This is a very prestigious job.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it was. But again, the meltdown. It's like the stock market, the eggs. I mean, the egg prices where I'm at were up around $9, $10, $8.99, $9.99. Now they're down to like $4.99, $4. So egg prices are down. But I also submit that if Harris would have won, and I don't put this past the Democrat Party, certainly the Biden, the people in the administration and government to try to do something to sabotage Trump. The avian flu that happened. If Harris would have won, I think there would have just been a miraculous. There wouldn't have been. They wouldn't have killed all the baby chickens.
Well, one thing we know,
we would have had plenty of eggs. This is what.
Yeah, but a lot of avian. But one of the part of the flu, not the water. This thing at the southern border. President Trump has completely shut down the southern border. Illegals aren't crossing now. They're not. Yep. And that, first off, that's amazing that he did that. But if Kamala would have won, this drunken wino that we saw on stage the other day, who was so in the bag, my gosh, they need to have an AA program just for these Democrat women, her and AOC and the rest. The border invasion would have quadrupled because they would have taken it as a mandate, and our country would have been over. It really would have.
Republicans, we would have never won an election from then on. We were really at that.
Our country would have collapsed. Listen, I got to run for the break, so I'll give you the last word. I'm late for the break.
Well, Jay, I'm interested in hearing what this new James O'Keefe story is going to be about.
That thing that James O'Keefe did, I love James O'Keefe, don't get me wrong. But he better deliver after that dramatic little tease he did. And that tease that he did, he had two camera shots. He had one from his right angle, and then when he gets up from the chair, it was a second shot of him standing up, like shooting up, like up. So he had two different camera angles and some editing. It was very well produced. So it was. It's
believable too, Brian. I mean, it's believable. People around Hillary Clinton disappear. They tried to kill the president twice, and who knows how many other times.
If you were really, hold on.
You better stand up.
If you were really afraid that was going to happen, would you do two camera angles, or would you just get out your iPhone and make the video?
I don't know.
I don't think. Go back and watch the video. You'll see what I mean. All right, take care. Now, I want to tell you guys, and I'm not criticizing James O'Keefe. I love him. He's the greatest reporter of this century. There's no doubt about it. I want to talk about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. If you've not taken advantage of this, please do. It's so great to have. I do not live in a gated community, okay? But I've got my camera. I got a great security system, and you can too. The Sloman's doorbell camera you can get for free with the installation of your Sloman Shield, and it connects directly to your cell phone. You get a notification when there's movement at your door, no matter where you are in the world. Your back porch, Publix, the mall, the movies, if you still go to the movies, at work, or on vacation somewhere. And you can see who's there. And you can get that camera for free with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call, toll-free, 1-833-283-5000. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. We'll be right back. Hey there, hold on. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll go to the calls after the gold report. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Callers on hold, stand by. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with our final gold and precious metals report of the week. William Youngerman, how are the metals ending the week?
Well, they're ending on the upside right now. We had a big drop this week, giving everybody an opportunity to pick up some metals on sale, and that's exactly what our Steve Kane listeners did. And they were lined up literally yesterday to take advantage of the drop. Gold being down $48, closing out the day at $3,239.30. Silver was down 16 cents at $32.39. Platinum lost $2 at $9.64, and palladium was up $1 at $9.28. And again, I want to thank everybody for your patience. We were short a few people this week, and we had people kind of lined up, but everybody was very patient and kind, and everybody got waited on. But we again thank you, and proud of our Steve Kane listeners for taking advantage of these dips and these opportunities to buy when the metals go on sale. Having said that, last night the gold traded in a range of 32.24 on the low to a high of 32.70, and right now gold's at 32.60. That's up $20.70. Silver's up 11 cents at $32.50 the ounce. Platinum is up $6 at $9.70, and palladium is up $9 at $9.37. So the market's very good, very stable, and like always, we look for those opportunities when we can buy cheap.
Yeah, and do people lock their price in when they're in line, William?
Unfortunately, that's not always the case. But,
yeah.
And the volatility in the metals, I've seen literally people locking in a price as we're taking care of them.
Oh my goodness!
The market changed $10 in seconds later, one way or the other. But once you're locked in with us, it's a deal. You don't have to worry about it.
Have you ever seen the metals market like this before?
Yeah, we've had things like this before, and these are the opportunities we take care of. When we get extreme runs to the upside, we find people are more prone to be wise and take a little profit. And when we see big dips like we had this week, people are wise to take advantage of those opportunities to buy or buy back some of their metal.
That's right. Well, listen, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. He's located in Boca at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto. When you enter the bank building, William Youngerman's shop is in the lobby directly across from the bank. You can't miss it. You can also give him a call, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. 5010. And find both his phone number and address on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. That's WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk on Monday.
Okay, have a great weekend. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. This is the lightning round, last segment of the Open MAGA Mic Friday. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Russell from South Carolina. How you doing?
All right, Russell.
Yeah, you mentioned last week about reading the book on Harriet Tubman.
Yes.
And I thought it was really good.
It is.
I know who she is, and studied a little bit about her in college. But did the authors mention that every single slave she helped escape was a violation of the Fugitive Slave Act? I mean, she was committing federal crimes, every single one, and the people that aided and abetted in that escape in the North were committing federal crimes, and some went to prison.
Well, let me tell you, this is an important thing when you look at this criminal federal court system we have. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled in Dred Scott about the Fugitive Slave Act. So for those of you that think that the Supreme Court, when they say something, that's the final say, thankfully Harriet Tubman disobeyed the Supreme Court, right?
I agree.
Okay, I want to make sure there was a hesitation.
Well, the thing is, what we're looking at is that lunatic judge in Wisconsin who helped this guy escape. David Brooks, I caught a glimpse of him on another podcast, and he likened it to civil disobedience. And so I'm thinking, well, are we going to pick and choose what laws we're going to?
When you're helping a federal fugitive from justice escape, that's not civil disobedience. That's aiding and abetting. You go to prison for it.
Well, in my opinion, the slaves, if you were a slave in the South and you escaped, you're violating federal law.
So what do you want to do? You think Harriet Tubman should have been arrested?
She would have been.
But should she have been?
If she got caught.
Should she have been?
Well, yeah.
So, my goodness. See, this is what I mean, right? You're MAGA, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, of course. MAGA guy who thinks the fugitive slave law was just. Give me a freaking break. See what they do? Give me a break. Don't all the seminar callers have Southern accents. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yes, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, Al. It's good morning. Brian, it's Al from you know where.
I don't know where. Every time you call, you're somewhere else, Al. Liberal Al.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Palm Beach Gardens, but I'm going back to my office in Wellington.
Your office? Your office?
Yeah.
You have an office that you own and operate?
Yeah, a production studio in Wellington, Florida. Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, how do you like your $6 eggs? How's that economy going with?
I don't pay $6 for eggs.
Oh, what do you pay? $5.50?
I don't buy eggs.
You don't consume any eggs.
I didn't say I don't consume eggs. I don't buy eggs.
Oh, they're free for you then. Oh, okay.
No. I go to restaurants and buy food that's already made.
Oh. Forgive me.
How much is the a 6-pack gone up? 6-pack of beer.
I don't drink. I'm not a drinker of beer.
What do you drink? What do you drink?
I drink Kool-Aid.
Oh, liberal Kool-Aid?
Trump Kool-Aid.
You drink liberal Kool-Aid.
I don't drink Trump Kool-Aid. That's for darn sure.
Yeah. Egg prices are down. Listen, you've been away slow down. You've been away for a while. We haven't talked in a while. You've got talking points that are a couple months old. President Trump announced earlier this week egg prices are down 87%. All right, yes, they are.
Where are you getting your eggs?
President Trump, I don't buy eggs, but President Trump said so. So you need to get new talking points.
That's right.
You have January's.
You don't have your own brain.
You have January and February's talking points, and it's May. All right, take care, Al. Oh my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, you're out. All right, let's try one more. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You just put me back on the air. Thank you.
Oh, no, I'm going to take you off the air. I apologize for you guys having to hear his voice again. I want to tell you guys, though, since we're talking about eating, and that gives me a great intro to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I talk about with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I've lost over 35 pounds. I eat foods I would normally eat. My wife and I, we don't cook at home very often, rarely at all. We used to when my daughter lived at home, but she's grown up and moved out. We eat out almost every meal. So I'm eating the foods I would normally eat, and I've still lost all this weight. When I first met with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I didn't know anything about them. I mean, I knew they would help me lose weight, but I didn't know how. And I was expecting them to tell me that I got to eat these little tiny little bit of food, that would barely fit in my hand every day, and it didn't taste good. And when I found out I could eat the foods I normally eat, I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I've lost all this weight, and I'll tell you, I started Coastal Weight Loss Secret the first Monday after Inauguration Day, because, I met with Coastal Weight Loss Secret and Dr. Zuckerman on Inauguration Day. Remember we had our event at Wings Plus? And I met with him before I went to Wings Plus when I got off the air. And I was going to LA to visit my daughter, and I knew we'd be going out to eat and everything else because, all the food out there is spectacular. So I waited until the Monday after to start. So it's been like 100 days, and I lost that first 25 pounds in less than a month. I wanted to lose it before the cruise. And I've lost a few more pounds since our cruise. So I've lost over 35 pounds, eating the foods I normally eat, zero exercise, no medications like Ozempic or anything, and I'm not hungry all the time. In fact, before I started with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I was hungry every morning. Sometimes my stomach would growl and the mic would pick it up. It works. I never thought, and I've lost the weight in the areas I wanted to lose it. My stomach, totally flat now. My stomach, my waist, my face and neck. It's amazing. And the main thing I get from people after they tell me, wow, you've lost so much weight, is you look younger. I hear that a lot. You look younger. And I have a lot more energy too. Give them a call. No matter how much you want to lose. Maybe you just want to lose 20 pounds. Or maybe you want to lose 200 or somewhere in between. They can help you. Give them a call. Now, when you call, make sure you tell Coastal Weight Loss Secret you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Three quick things. Doge. I like Elon telling it like it is. You never had a receipt in order to receive the money. When I told you Wally, the Nigerian job was to click yes for anything that comes in, he didn't know where it was going.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Like walking into
I couldn't believe when they said that they were renting out arenas with the tax money. I couldn't believe it. How much does that cost?
They're outraged about eggs, but not outraged about their money being literally pulling out of their pockets. Number two, when it comes to Marco Rubio, I've lived in South Florida in Miami 30 years. And he came a long way, and he's very impressive sitting next to the president.
All right, we're almost out of time, IB.
Very, very impressed.
Go ahead. 10 seconds.
I was very impressed. 5, Trump is playing fifth-level chess. Anyone who buys oil from Iran, they're out of gas. No more.
That's right. Listen, we're out of time. You made some good points, IB. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name's Brian Craig. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back on Monday at 6, and you'll be first in line. Great calls today. Thanks, everyone, on this Open Mega Mic Friday. We'll see you Monday morning at 6 a.m. Man, oh, man. All right, guys, listen, I got to run because I got a very busy morning here. Thanks, everyone. I'll be back over the weekend. Don't worry. I'll have a new podcast today, too. So keep an eye out for that. This is where MAGA comes to talk. My name is Brian Craig. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. And if you're not new, please like the video and share it on all your social media. All right? I'll see you later today.